So unfortunately today we got some bad news about the president of Nintendo, CEO, Mr. Satoru Iwata, and here at Play Legit we really respect him and we wanted to kind of do a tribute video to him and kind of give you a little bit of information on his life and give you the details on his death. So I usually wouldn't be wearing my actual working outfit, except that many of you might not know this, that for my day job, I'm a nurse. So, you know, I really delved into what happened with Iwata and what was the actual reason that he died. So we want to bring you that information. A lot of people know that he died of cancer, but he actually died of a rare type of bile duct cancer, which actually affects mostly Asian Americans, in this case just Asian and Pacific Islanders in general, and it only has a 2 to 30% survival rate. Of course, the Asian culture is really private, so they didn't really let us know that information, but we do know that he didn't show up to E3 2014 or 2015, and both times Nintendo stated that it was due to his declining health. So he actually battled this cancer for, it seems like, a little over a couple of years, and it's really unfortunate that we lost him because he has a vast history that many people might not know about. He actually started as a software coordinator in 1983, and he was working for HAL Laboratories, which was a subsidiary of Nintendo. And in 1993, he became the president of HAL Laboratories, and he worked on a lot of games that became cult classics and just classics in of themselves, including Balloon Fight, Kirby, and Earthbound. A lot of people don't really know this either, that Earthbound was pretty much slated to be a complete failure, and Iwata rebuilt this game from the ground up. And while Earthbound wasn't originally well received, it became one of the most well-known cult classics, and now we see characters in Super Smash Brothers and things of that nature. Then he went on in 2002 at the height of GameCube, which really wasn't a height at all, because you know, he had gone from 1983, so basically the beginning of Nintendo up and coming, which nobody thought at that time that video games would even be what they are today, to through the height of Super Nintendo, through the height of Nintendo 64, and then on to GameCube, which in the scope of what has gone on with Nintendo, GameCube, while I don't believe it was a complete failure, was a hard selling point for Nintendo and a hard time for them as far as focus for their company and making it as a company. They didn't create very much revenue during the GameCube times, and in 2002, Iwata actually became the president of Nintendo and the CEO, head CEO for Japan. So he did that during the GameCube era, which was completely insane, because you would have to take a company that was basically in a downfall and turn it completely around. So he actually brought the generation of GameCube into the Wii generation, which was interesting because, you know, if you were paying attention to what was going on in the industry when the Wii was released, everybody thought the Wii was going to be a complete failure. We had already gone through GameCube, and we were maybe a little bit disappointed. Not me personally, maybe not Nintendo fans, but when you looked at it from a perspective of PlayStation versus Microsoft versus Nintendo, Nintendo wasn't doing that well. They announced the Wii. I actually went to E3 2006, which was right before the Wii launched, And before I played it and they named it the Wii, I was thinking, oh my goodness, how are they going to turn this around and make it something amazing? Because Wii, really? What is that name? And I think I wasn't alone in that. Everybody pretty much thought that. But I knew as soon as I played it, and I was one of the first people to play it, Super Mario Galaxy was the first game I ever played on the Wii at E3 2006. And I knew then that it was going to be an absolute phenomenon. But I don't think people really realize how much Iwata changed the face of Nintendo as the CEO and the president of Nintendo during the Wii era. It wasn't, I mean, it stomped anything that Sony or Microsoft had going. If you look at sales statistics for the Wii, there's nothing that even comes close to comparing it. And you're talking about Microsoft and Sony have other outlets that they're using to gain income. Nintendo actually, though, became the second most valuable Japanese company, only behind Toyota, during the Wii era. And that was mostly thanks to the Wii. And then, you know, you move on to Wii U, and not only the Wii, but the the handheld systems, the Nintendo DS, Nintendo DSi. I mean, the handhelds were blowing up at the exact same time as the Wii. And all of this was perspective genius of basically Satoru Iwata, the president of Nintendo. So then in 2013, when the Wii U was available, you know, the Wii U was kind of not doing as well as they had hoped, and they were talking about laying people off. And Iwata said, no, I'm not going to lay people off. I'm going to take a massive pay cut so we don't have to fire people. And while that is something that's been done in Japan before, just because of kind of the culture of Japan, it's still really unusual and honorable that he would not fire any Nintendo employees and take this giant, massive pay cut. So he did that in 2013. And then that leads us to 2014 and 15, where he was unable to make it to the E3 expos, and they kind of had to put in this artsy style caricature stuff with his voice acting, so that he didn't actually have to show up at the event because he was too sick. And we didn't realize then that, you know, he wouldn't be with us today. But, you know, it's really sad that, you know, we've seen him go through so many systems, many of which I have sitting out here in front of me, and this isn't even the half of them. I mean, he started all the way back in 1983 with Nintendo as a software coordinator. So, you know, he was in the midst of it to completely transforming the entire company. I mean, GameCube sales were not phenomenal. While we all have games that we love and remember, and I don't think that we would ever say, oh, we wish GameCube would have never happened. I mean, GameCube was an amazing system in of itself, but let's face it, if you're going to be an amazing company, you have to make money, or where are you going? To now, today, Satoru Iwata, unfortunately, meets his demise at 55 years old. But we just want to say here at Play Legit, thank you so much for everything you did and everything that you committed to the industry, because without you, sites like Play Legit wouldn't even exist. So he did a fantastic job while he was here, and he will go down in the history of Nintendo as one of Nintendo's best. This is Miss Throwback for PlayLegit.net, and I will see you next time.